Hey guys, wanted to make this video to kind of talk about my experience at the 2025 Kentucky Bourbon Festival. Kind of explain to you how we did stuff, um, give you some do's, don'ts, just from my experience, what I learned since last year, carried over into this year. Um, so I've kind of got a little list of stuff going, and then I'll show you kind of the bottle haul, what I ended up with here at the end of the video. So if you don't want to watch me rant for 5 or 10 minutes about nonsense, you can probably just skip to the end and see bottles that I got. So stay tuned. All right, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to pour myself a little bit of this new riff here. This is a new riff single barrel that I got at the Bourbon Festival. So this is a single barrel selected and bottled exclusively for the Distillers Row Series Kentucky Bourbon Festival 2025. Got the seal right here. Let's see if I can get that in that light. 116 proof. This was distilled August of 2020. I tried a little bit of this while I was up there, and it's excellent. And, might as well do a little more than that. Here we go. So you kind of got a sneak peek of that bottle. That's the new Riff single barrel. All right, let's see here. All right, so I'll just start from kind of like a chronological what we did. So we obviously the Bourbon Festival don't start till noon up there. We live close to Nashville, so we left about 8 Friday morning. I know stuff goes on Thursday. I think they do that bourbon in the air thing. I couldn't make it up there just with childcare and everything with the wife Thursday, so headed up Friday morning. Of course, hit the Buc-ee's on the way there. Got a little breakfast, pretty much headed just straight there. So a lot of places like close to the festival, you'll notice have like pay for parking 10, 15, $20. We just found a spot on the side of the road there in Bardstown and parked and walked. The weather was great this year. We were a little concerned about rain, like we had been watching the forecast for about a week before, and it was calling for a little bit of rain, but it ended up not like raining on us at all, except for I think Saturday morning we got like maybe 10 minutes of a super light drizzle. Not bad at all. So Friday we stayed pretty much noon till 5:36. Did pretty much the entire legacy side. We didn't stray too far to the craft side that time because they separate them. So like one side will be your legacy distilleries like Beam, Heaven Hill, um, Makers. Let's see what else was over there. Bardstown was over there, Green River, and then your craft side is kind of split across like this lane. Angel's Envy was on the legacy side as well. It was awesome. So we hit pretty much every one of those. The lines were not bad. I don't think we waited longer than 5 minutes to get a sample. And so when you check in with your wristband, scan in, you'll get like a little Glen, and you can go up and get samples of pretty much whatever you want at these booths and tents that they have set up. So Angels Envy had a pretty good line because they had like a ring toss game going. So a lot of these tents, distillery tents, will have like a game of some kind to do where you can win stuff like that. Like I ended up winning like a bandana. So if you haven't been to the festival, in addition to like bottles and the merch that you can buy, you can also get a bunch of free like swaggy stuff, stickers, hats, um, shirts, stuff like that. So kind of went around, did a bunch of sampling. Friday, we actually stayed at a hotel in Louisville. So the festival actually organizes a shuttle service that you can take advantage of, but I was a little nervous about it because it only leaves once. So my wife ended up driving us Friday back to Louisville, or to Louisville rather, because we hadn't been there yet, to check into the hotel. Checked into the hotel, went and got dinner at, I believe we ate Goodfellas Pizza there in Louisville, which I'm a huge fan of. And then we went to a really, really neat cocktail bar called Trial and Error. So cocktails were awesome. They were reasonable, not busy at all for a Friday night. Plenty of room to move around and everything like that in there. It's downstairs, so you go in. It's kind of got like the speakeasy vibe and everything. And I posted some pictures on the Instagram if you want to check that out. So did that. Then we got back to the hotel. And we had heard just walking around during the day on Friday that Makers was doing the same thing that they had done the year before, essentially, and dropping the cellar aged at the distillery. So I think we got in probably midnight on Friday, and then got up at 4 to head from Louisville to Makers. And got there. I think they opened the gate at 6 o'clock. So you could go in the gate at 6 o'clock, and then you could go get in line. And then they opened up the actual gate to the visitor center and shop and everything like that. I think it was 8:30 or 8:45. There were people showing up at 8:30, and they still got bottles of cellar aged. Like if you made any type of effort to get there, we got there way too early, but it was nice just kind of hanging out, sitting in line, even though it did rain on us very, very briefly, super light. And while I was at Makers, ended up getting my 2025 ambassador pin, which is cool. I didn't have that one yet. Snagged that. Ended up getting cellar aged. I believe it was 183, 185, something like that. And you could get one per person. So my wife and I each got one. From there, we took off pretty much straight to the Bourbon Festival and spent the day there Saturday. Same deal. Hit a bunch of the legacy stuff again, stuff we didn't get to do on Friday. Um, Grabbed lunch at some of the food trucks, which are awesome. They really do give you a pretty broad selection on food and everything like that. So we didn't have to eat the same thing every time. I think I got like a taco burrito type thing one day, and then got fried chicken and some pretty good French fries the next, just right outside. So I will mention this year I remembered to bring like a refillable water bottle, and then broke the lid on it. So I ended up using a smart water bottle. They will let you bring it in sealed, but if it's open and you've taken one drink out of it, you got to dump it out and then refill it on the inside, which that's their rule. Don't care. I get it. I guess they don't want you sneaking like some sort of clear liquor in and getting wild and out of hand. Speaking of which, never saw anybody either time I've been there, this last year and this year, never saw anybody that even resembled getting out of hand. Everybody's pretty calm and collected and um, acting right. Nobody acting silly. I did hear that there was a tidbit of a little bit of a push and shove there at the beginning over at the Maker's tent when they released cellar aged, which is crazy because I got in that line trying to get a tasting later that day and almost got a cellar aged. Didn't even realize I was in line for a cellar aged. They come down the line and they said, "Hey, sorry, we ran out of cellar aged." Like 5 people in front of you. I was like, "I was here for a sample," so that's cool. But other than that, I don't think it was too rowdy. I never noticed anything rowdy. I didn't see anybody running or anything like that. I'd seen a video of it, but I didn't see it in person. So same deal, kind of like Saturday. Took off back to Louisville. Went to eat at that awesome Cuban place. I can never remember the name of it. It's the big yellow house right there across from Evergreen. It's killer. If you've never checked that out. All right, so let's talk about the do's. My suggest, like, if you're gonna go next year, if you plan on going, here's what I think you should do, just from my personal experiences and talking to people. Um, if you can afford it, 100% do the VIP ticket. If not, you get in an hour later, no big deal. You're still gonna get good stuff. Um, if you're after big bottles, so like the big Heaven Hill bottles, the big Maker bottles, the big Beam bottles, stuff like that. Four Roses bottles, whatever. Like I think Four Roses dropped LE for 255. I think that Heaven Hill did VVS. Prioritize those. I'd say like your first day because you're going to wait in line for a couple hours and get that out of the way. That being said, like the Makers thing, I just got up early and went to the distillery so I didn't have to worry about standing in line because I wanted to go around to every tent, talk to people, try as much stuff as possible. Um, Hydrate 100%. Like you're going to be drinking a bunch of whiskey if you're a drinker, because you don't get like one sample at each tent unless you want to do that. You can get 3, 4, 5, little maybe half ounce pours depending on who's pouring them. I would follow like the distilleries that you're interested in. Make sure you're following them on like Facebook, Instagram, email lists, and stuff like that because a lot of times they will release what they're doing at the festival. And the Kentucky Bourbon Festival's Instagram always releases kind of some little tip stuff. Um, if you're up there and you have the time, like, man, take a day before or a day after and hit some distilleries. Like, especially if you're not close to Kentucky, like Bardstown's 2 hours for me. Louisville's 2.5, 2.5, 3-ish, depends. So it's not that big of a deal. But like I met people coming from, San Francisco, San Diego, Colorado. There was a guy that I met that had flown from England. Like, take an extra day or two and hit some distilleries. Do the history side of it, do some tours, stuff that you're not going to get the chance to do all the time. You're already there. Check the weather. Bring a rain jacket. Bring an umbrella. They will let you bring an umbrella. They did let you bring an umbrella in. I don't know if they will next year, but they did for us. No big deal. Um, Obviously, do the responsible thing. Like, if you're gonna go and drink, 50 or 60 little samples of whiskey, you don't need to drive your car. Like, get an Uber, get a Lyft, have somebody responsible that's not going to drink, that's going to drive. Um, just have that plan in place so you're safe. The locker, I think a 3-day locker was $55 or something like that. That's a game changer because I got 8. I had 9 bottles that I was toting around. I don't want to tote around 9 bottles. Like, I mean, unless you got like this big giant backpack, you're going to put a bunch of bottles in. And I bought most of my bottles, like, except for 2 of them on the first day. So I'd say a locker so you can store your stuff and then take it back to wherever you're staying at night. A lot of times they'll have like little raffle stuff that you can sign up for. So CaskX was doing a thing, and I posted a video of it where you went up and rolled a wheel, and kind of like the Price is Right or whatever. I guess it's Price is Right. You roll the wheel and you could get a pour of something pretty good. So did that, and a lot of times they'll have like a little QR code. Like, I entered a raffle for some chairs. I didn't win, but you will for sure not win if you don't enter. And here's something that I have not remembered to do the past 2 years is don't cinch down on your bracelet super tight when you put it on. So I guess this would be a don't. If you cinch down on that bracelet super tight, you cannot loosen it. And if it's cut or it comes off, it's like game over. It's like you don't have a bracelet. So I just suggest, putting it on as comfortable as you can. You can shower in it and everything like that. It's got like the chip on the inside that you scan. It's not going to hurt anything. I would not, here's a don't. I would not stand in line all 3 days for crazy bottles that you could grab somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like, if you're coming to the Bourbon Festival, hopefully you're coming to see a bunch of different stuff that you're not going to see altogether. Hopefully you're going to, get to try a bunch of stuff you're not going to get normally. I talked to people that had waited in line like one of their entire days of the 3-day festival, and that just don't sound fun to me. I'm plenty happy with what I ended up with bottle wise. Like, I would have loved to have got a VVS, but I wasn't sad that I didn't get one. They dropped I think it was a Knob Creek 21 that looked awesome. Not sad I didn't wait in line. The Four Roses LE line was 200 or 300 people. It was wild, and that don't sound interesting or fun to me. It's just to stand in line. But if you are going to do that, maybe you could send somebody to go grab you a sample every now and then. Other than that, another do I think that I would suggest is if you're planning on going next year, they've already released the dates. Find somewhere to stay. I saw a lot of people that were having trouble, like where Airbnb had canceled their Airbnbs like pretty close before, and hotels book up quick. So look at hotels, plan your route out, trying to find somewhere relatively close. Pretty much anywhere that you go during the festival surrounding it, there's going to be people at the hotel stand that are going to the festival, and you may run across a little bottle share like we did and get to try some pretty awesome stuff. So I'll get into these bottles and kind of give you the rundown on how I got them, and I think I'll try to remember price on them. There's some of them I don't remember. All right, let me get these. All right, so this is what I'm drinking right now. I showed you this. This is that New Riff single barrel. I'm a huge New Riff fan, and it's just far. Like, Covington's pretty far from Nashville. Super far northern Kentucky. Like, if you do the Beeline stuff, they're up there. I've been one time, and it was amazing, and I can't wait to go back. So this is barrel proof, single barrel, 116.3 proof. Here we go. So the location's floor 5, row 19, tier 1. Warehouse C, if any of you guys think that matters, if you're going to compare your single barrels. So this is a Kentucky Bourbon Festival pick. It's got like the little seal on it. I guess you could only get that at the festival, which is cool. I thought that was awesome. So several of these I haven't opened. I did try this Green River single barrel, and I tried it and I loved it. I'm a huge Green River fan, and this is the. See if I can turn that so you can see it. Kentucky Bourbon Festival 2025. This is their single barrel that they released for the festival. Come with a little Bourbon Festival tag, which is cool, and it was great. This is 126 proof. It was killer, so I bought it. I think the new riff I paid 60, and I think I paid 60 something for this. Not terrible. I may be, here or there. I swung by Old Forester randomly. There was no line, and I decided to stop in and get some samples, and they were sitting these out on the counter. So I got two of these actually. The 117 series. This is the 1910 extra extra old. So I could have waited. They told me if you come back in 30 minutes, you can get an extra old. I had one of those, so I grabbed two of these 1910 extra extra olds. These are released July 2025, 93 proof, and these are the 375 bottles if you couldn't tell. And two of them I think was like right at 135, 140, something like that. So I like these 117, so I grabbed them. And if they're gonna let me buy two, I'll buy two. I can always give somebody one for Christmas, or if I drink that one, have a backup. So this is probably like one of the bottles that I was most excited to try and to try to get my hands on. So I got this Bardstown Discovery 13, which I'm a huge Bardstown fan, especially like these Discovery series. So this is the double-barreled Discovery series, and I got to try this at the festival, and this was killer. This outdrank a bunch of stuff that I got to try. So this is a blend of 9-year Kentucky, 9-year Kentucky, 15-year Kentucky, and 8-year Kentucky. With every one of those has a different mash bill. I'm not going to read them to you, but it's killer. It's awesome. If you see this out, I'd grab this. I don't remember. I think 145, maybe 150, something like that. But these Discovery series are awesome. Always, they do great work there. So Sunday, I don't think I really talked about Sunday. It's kind of a wrap-up day. Like a lot of people don't even go Sunday for some reason. We were going to go for a couple hours and ended up staying until close Sunday just because we were having such a good time. Dark Arts was almost impossible to get to. Like the lines were crazy, but they were doing something awesome. So if you stood, they had two lines going to Dark Arts over on the craft side. If you stood in line, they would come down the line and pour samples. So you weren't just waiting on samples. You at least got samples until you got up there. But I got this. This is a Dark Arts. This is a straight rye whiskey finished in maple syrup barrels with toasted Amberana oak staves. I'm not the biggest Amberana person. I do like it, but I don't like all of them. But I think this is by far one of the best Amberanas that I've ever tried. And the artwork on these bottles is super, super cool. Ended up getting it signed here on the back. And I think this was $109. I think I paid $109 for it. But from what I understand, they only put this out Sunday. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. They had this and then another rye sitting out, so I grabbed this one. This is killer. This is awesome. I can't wait to share that with some people. So I ran by Beam, and they had the new Bookers. I didn't get that. A buddy grabbed that, so I know I'm going to get to try it because he's a good person and let me share his whiskey with him. But I had to get one of the bowling pins. I don't know if it's good. I didn't try it. I like Beam stuff. But, this is a throwback to the vintage bowling pin bottles. Like when we went and did a Knob Creek pick a year ago, 2 years ago, got to see these like originals sitting up on the shelf, and I thought this was cool. They did the throwback. And it tells you a little bit about it on these. And I want to say I paid $55 maybe, and I'm probably way off on that. But these are 86.8 proof. But that's just a cool looking bottle. I guess pretty. I grabbed that. I may open it. I may leave it sitting on the bar for a while just because of how cool it looks. And then here's the cellar aged that I talked to you about. So this is the 2025 release of the Maker's Mark cellar aged, and it is wonderful. So when I accidentally got in the line to buy cellar aged at the festival, I thought I was in line to just get like a sample of some makers and look around their tent, and missed it, which is okay because I got one. But this is 112.9 proof, and this is a blend as well. So this is 74% whiskey aged 11 years, 10% whiskey aged 13 years, and 16% whiskey aged 14 years. And they came down the line after they told us they were out at the festival for that day, and poured pretty good sized pours of that, and it was excellent, and I loved it. So I was not sad that I had bought one. I was going to get one regardless, just because I like the concept and I like Maker's Mark a lot. Oh, and I did get this. I forgot to show you this. I did, when I finally made it up to the front, get this really cool dark art sign. I thought the artwork on that was cool, and I'm gonna hang it up on the wall here. And then I got a bunch of stickers, and I got this larrikin hat. That guy is super cool. If you've not tried any of their stuff, they're 10 minutes down the road from Wild Turkey. We kind of stumbled upon it on accident back when they were a Lawrenceburg Bourbon Company, and really enjoyed their stuff. They were super, super nice at the distillery. They've rebranded to Larrikin. They were there. They got some really good stuff there. And other than that, I'm trying to think. Sunday, stayed until the end. I may edit this last little part out. Let me think. And another thing too, like I didn't mention this before, but if you're going to go to the festival, take advantage of some of the talks that they're doing. Like you can go sit down kind of on the craft side. They have a stage. Like we listened to some of the Bourbon 30 podcasts. Those guys were awesome, super cool. It's nice getting to see that live, and it's pretty neat. Like running into some of these people that I watch on YouTube. Getting to say hey to them and tell them I enjoy their content and everything like that. That was cool. Um, but take advantage of the stuff that they have. Kind of explore around. I'm actually wearing their shirt. We went to this over on the craft side. It's Potter Jane Distilling Company, and they're doing their own distillate, but they didn't have anything old enough to bring as bourbon, so they brought some White Dog, and the White Dog was as good as some of the whiskey that I tried that had been aged for 4 or 5 years. It's killer. So I think once that gets some age on it, it's going to be wonderful. And I'm a Pyrenees person, and it's got the cool White Dog on the back of the shirt, so I had to get one of those. Um, but yeah, like if you have any tips, tricks, do's, don'ts of your own from the festival, I'd love to hear them. Um, I'm going back next year, so I for sure want to take advantage of what you have to say. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like or a comment, subscribe, stuff like that. Check it out. I appreciate it.